Oh my lord. Man, there's stuff coming out left and right. All these trailers and gameplays. My brain is mushed. So without a further intro, let's check this out. Because, yeah, another 9-minute gameplay trailer. Enjoy.
Under here.
PlayStation.
What the gameplay needs to do is immerse you in the world, give you as many interesting actions to survive in this world and overcome obstacles. And obstacles could be infected, it could be other people, it could just be the environment, it could be rushing water, anything that could happen in this post-apocalyptic world.
Are you clean? Yeah.
But more than anything, it needs to put you in Ellie's shoes, that you're experiencing what Ellie's experiencing, making you feel what she feels. Because the more we do that, the more the emotional beats of the story work for us, and the more they work for us in this very unique way that only works in video games.
The gameplay philosophy of The Last of Us Part 2 is putting you in the shoes of Ellie and everything that means. It means giving you a threat constantly, as this world has. It means giving you the hard choices.
Because this game takes place in such a hostile universe and our characters are pushed to do really difficult things, we want to put you in alignment with those choices. We want you to understand how hard certain decisions were for these characters, because they're hard for you.
I would say the overarching philosophy of how we approached designing the game mechanically is how can we take things to the next level.
It should be like that. There should be tough decisions that we don't
Everything
like.
kind of comes out of the story. And how do we do it through systems? So one is you have to feel the pressure of survival. Survive by the skin of my teeth. How do I use all the scrap around me? Any kind of bullet, any kind of rag, any kind of bottle of alcohol. How do we give you that sense of being a survivor in this world?
I'm wondering, did they add more elements to what can you pick up? A lot of them are like literally the same.
Ellie is very small compared to Joel and more nimble. How do we make you feel like you're not the strongest person in the room, but you still should be able to rise to the challenge and survive, you know, a fight with a bunch of people that are all bigger than you.
I think this section is from that first
So therefore it meant
E3
creating a
isn't it?
character and systems and mechanics that allow you to be much more nimble. And that's where we added a jump button.
Oh.
In the first game we had a clamber button, but not really jumping. And here Ellie can jump. The combat scenarios are much more vertical, where Ellie can use elevation to her advantage.
Okay.
Prone is a huge one. Prone, obviously, it means to lay flat on the ground. Something so simple, again, something that in real life you'd be able to do. Letting the player have access to all their weapons, all the items, crafting, everything while in that position. And it just creates so many more emergent things in gameplay.
Now that we have this other state that the player could be in, which are very low to the ground, how else can we use this other than just hiding in vegetation? We're like, well, there's a lot of man-made things or different structures that have collapsed that allow just enough space for you to crawl under, and which means that now, as enemies are looking for you, you can crawl under things and hide, and it's just one more way to assess your environment and use it to Ellie's advantage. Now, because you can hide under things, we made them smarter and gave them the ability to look under things. So while you might hide somewhere and be safe for a while, eventually they're going to start looking under stuff, and if you're hiding under a truck and they spot you, they're going to yank you out and then try to kill you.
Oh, so that's okay. Good. Wow. You know, the approach to this is something what they did with Uncharted 4. I think that's
Dodging
what
is a
they're
big
going for
one
here.
because now with dodge, anytime you're in a scuffle, you have a chance to get away.
Wow.
You have a chance to counterattack. It lets escape be an option as well. Sometimes you just got to run. And that is another part of this world, which is sometimes the threat is so overpowering that you just have to get away.
That melee movement.
When you are
God
partially
of War.
hidden, or you're in grass, that means people from afar can't see you, but people from closer can kind of see you. They will eventually acquire you. You're not completely hidden when you're in grass.
She went into the grass. Watch yourself.
And it makes
Finally!
you as a player become much more aware of your surroundings.
Jump, prone, dodge, all these things feed into both exploration and combat, because it lets us expand the space. The size of spaces can be bigger, the intricacy of spaces can be more complex, and it still works exactly as you would expect.
So when it
Grass
came to
isn't
our
that safe
level
anymore.
design,
Finally,
we
good,
really wanted to
good.
challenge ourselves
Good challenge.
to make a world that really felt like a real space as much as we possibly could, and didn't feel like a series of combat encounters and exploration spaces and then combat encounters that felt like a Hall of Horrors or something, but something that really felt like a space that you could explore that seemed like a legitimate
Nice shot.
urban environment. And that pushed us to make our level design even more open than it was in the first game, which for us at the time was pretty open. In this game, we've gone so far in making the level design open that there are actually entire story moments, entire combat encounters, like full scripted sequences that you may completely miss. And there are things that we feel like, even though a portion of our player base may never see these things, the fact that when you do encounter them, you feel like you discovered them, it lends them this charm and this magic that I think is unique to games, that, you know, this happened to me because of what I did and what the place I explored too.
Crafting is very much about a payoff to exploration, meaning that when you enter new spaces, you want to look around for supplies. You want to open drawers and cabinets and look for different things that will allow you to craft either items that can help you heal, items that can help you attack multiple enemies at once, such as the Molotov or the landmine that Ellie can craft. Items that can help augment your weapons, like a silencer for her pistol, or craft new kinds of ammo.
It also gives us tons
I
of
like that.
interesting gameplay choices and overlaps that you can do in any moment and on the fly. We try to be a game that wants you to make a lot of different decisions in combat as possible. And the way that we've expanded the recipe roster and all of the recipes and how they interact with each other is carefully chosen for the different ingredients, and making sure that you always have these interesting decisions to make.
We put a much stronger emphasis on the importance of the choices you make in the long term for your character.
I like there's a lot of the stuff, it's the same from the first.
Through the weapon upgrade
It's
system, through the
understandable.
player upgrade system.
Very understandable. Only
There
adding
aren't
a few more
enough
things.
resources in a single
good.
playthrough to fully upgrade your character. The choices that you make, you're going to have to live with. And we wanted to make sure that all of the choices that you made had a really noticeable and tangible effect on the way that you play.
A lot of the same upgrades
You
from the last
feel
one.
a
Perfect.
greater kinship with Ellie because you are living with decisions that you've already made. Like you are continuing this through line of her journey through this world, and the moment-to-moment gameplay is influenced by that in a way that we haven't before. The realization that your choices have these long-term consequences is very much like the nature of the narrative of the game. And I'm happy that the mechanics are supporting that.
PlayStation.
All right. You know what? There's a lot of the elements, you can tell they're literally just picked up from the first one. And they're not adding more, too much more, and making it something that doesn't make sense in the world. Like a lot of those, for the Molotovs, the ingredients, and all the stuff that you pick up, you could tell. Obviously the icons, and they have updated all that to make it look more modern. But it's from the first one. Yeah, the silencer you can do in the first one, and there's a few more, I noticed, forgot what it's called, but there are a few more ingredients or things you can pick up in the world now. But I like that, because at the end of the day, it's the same world. It's not like, oh, now they're in like 30 years or 40 years down the line, and it's futuristic, and it's still the same narratively. It makes sense. Something like, if you think about it, it made sense in the fourth Uncharted game, which was the rope mechanic. It made sense, and they showed that in the past, uh, he he used it, right? But the only problem, or only other problem with it, it was a bit finicky. Sometimes it was just a bit too unrealistic, but the other games did not have it. So narratively, if you really think about it, yeah, it made sense he had it. He should have always had it, but probably because of like the limitations of PS3 and what they could have done. I mean, some of those, the second and the third, really pushed the PS3 engine to its like max, or almost. Uh, with how much stuff it was, like all the elements that were involved. But narratively, because the fourth game was the fourth game that had it, and it showed that, oh, in the past he had, he used to use it, and you could use it. Well, when you look at number 1, 2, and 3, and that mechanic not existing, it does take you a bit out of the narrative, and in you understand why they didn't have it, but narratively it just gives you that feeling that it's not properly aligned. Not everything is aligned. So in this case, it makes sense that they're only adding a bit more, just a tad bit more. If it's not broken, don't fix it. That's one thing, but I understand not adding way too much. Like, she's not gonna go like full Tomb Raider. If that would have been like, be like, okay, but they are adding stuff that will make sense, or that does make sense. With the verticality makes sense. The world is, they're making the world much bigger. They're more, from what it seems like, there are more areas, the more bigger areas where you can like decide, literally something like, Uncharted 4, where you can kind of decide your own path at how you want to proceed with the enemies. And I also like that you can now actually go under the car. Makes sense, under objects, and so, but they're also adding the AI of the enemies. I like that. Now, obviously, all of this, what we're talking about and what they're showing, it has to work together. If like it's glitches out and enemies don't know what the hell you're doing, and they don't actually realize, and you're just standing in front of them, something like the first game had. I'm still worried, like how the co-op character, whether you're playing as Joel, whether you're playing as Ellie, or Abby, I guess that's the other character that's in the game. Like, how do they react to things? Because in the first one, again, it was the limitations. I'm not giving it a pass, but sometimes, man, I'm actually doing a full on playthrough, and it does now, like, especially for today's time, when you play the first one, it does feel a bit awkward when the second one is just kind of running around, and like the enemy is actually in front, and they're just looking like, where are you? I hope they fix that, so, because it does take you out. Again, the limitations of the PS3 existed, but at the same time, you have to take a bit of points away for that, because it's like, it still takes, the immersion factor kind of goes out the window. Other than that, you know what? I'm hopeful. I don't know the story elements to this, or all that leaked stuff. I don't know. Again, I've said in the first, I think the other trailer that I did the reaction on, I said it in that let's see, in the end, who knows, maybe whatever's leaked, I don't know, but if maybe in the end it makes sense. Maybe they've added stuff because of the leaks, or maybe that stuff was actually like a pre-build, and who knows? Let's play the game. All I know that I'm excited for it. I'm worried because there were leaks and all this hoopla, but at the end of the day, these folks, and I think that goes for any company, like, I'm still excited. They've made a game, what, 4 or 5 years in the making, and it's finally coming out. Let's give it a try, and in the end, if we don't like it, well, then we don't like it, and you tell them, hey man, you screwed up. And if it's good. And we're like, hey, if we were wrong, you did good. Simple. So yeah, can't wait. I still can't wait. The only other thing is this game is gonna take so much time to just actually, I think, finish through, because they're really going on this long, narratively dense kind of journey. You can feel like I have some theories, but I don't want to say, because I rather keep the surprise for myself too, and I don't want to say something and be like, I guessed it, So let's see. I am excited. I like the gameplay trailer. Like, a lot of it was from the first one. I'll be honest. Like, so whether you take it as a positive or negative, as that, I'm taking it as a positive because they don't need to add a lot. They just need to add a lot more ways to do things, which they are doing. So as long as all these elements mesh together, I'll be happy. But again, in the end, let's see how it works out. So yeah, that's that. June 19, right? June 19. So next month, it's like, what, literally less than a month away. So let's see how it'll be all at the end. So yeah, with that, everyone, thanks for watching. Trailers are coming out left and right these days, so my brain is mooshed, as I said. But yeah, hopefully you liked the discussion. Hopefully you liked my reaction. And yeah, thanks all for watching. Thanks for all the support. Take care, stay safe, and I will catch you all later. Ta-ta.